And since we're talking about Scotland, it's only right that we have a Scottish rapporteur, Mr Stevenson, who has the floor. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, President. Commissioner Dalli. The Danish presidency informed me some weeks ago that there will be no first reading agreement on my report on a multiannual plan for West of Scotland herring. This follows a similar blockage in Council on the implementation of Pat the Cope Gallagher's report on a multiannual plan for the western stock of Atlantic horse mackerel, which has been log-jammed for the past 3 years. A report by Mrs Bilbao Barandica on a multiannual plan for anchovy in the Bay of Biscay has been similarly blocked. It is a pattern which has emerged not only in respect of fisheries reports, but across all of the work of our parliamentary committees where delegated acts and implementing acts have been disputed. My understanding is that the Council refuses to accept that under the terms of the Lisbon Treaty they no longer have the sole right to determine such matters. I have suggested in my report on the West of Scotland herring that under delegated acts the Commission will evaluate the implementation of multiannual plans in full consultation with the pelagic RAC, the International Council for the Exploration of the Seas, and the Scientific, Technical and Economic Committee for Fisheries. Parliament and the Council can veto the Commission recommendations under delegated acts. The alternative is to use implementing acts which give the Council more say in the evaluation of multiannual plans, but in this case Parliament can only give advice to the Commission, and of course our advice can always be ignored. It appears that this blockage in the Council is emanating from the official working groups rather than from the ministers themselves. The working groups are determined to retain ownership of all multiannual plans through the use of implementing acts under the terms of Article 43(3) of the TFEU, which gives them sole competence. The Parliament and Commission are demanding the right to deal with these multiannual plans under Article 43(2) of the TFEU under the ordinary legislative procedure. Even the Council's own legal services agree with the Parliament and Commission on this issue, but the Council remains steadfast in its opposition to delegated acts, and the blockage seems set to continue. In respect of the current reform of the common fisheries policy, this legislative blockage is very dangerous indeed. To bring stability to the market and to provide fishermen and processors with the necessary long-term security that high levels of investment in the industry require, multi-annual management plans must be introduced for the main commercial stocks. How can we argue that there is not enough money in the EMFF to reintroduce subsidised new build or modernisation for EU fishing vessels when we are unable to offer our fishermen the reassurance that they can borrow large sums of money from the bank to build or modernise their own vessels based on multiannual plans for fisheries management? No EU bank, particularly during the current economic crisis, will lend a fisherman up to €2 million to build a new whitefish vessel unless he can show that there is a multiannual stock management plan in place that will give a concrete assurance of sustainable fishing over a long period. The current situation is untenable and puts at risk the entire CFP reform process. If we end up going to the European courts to resolve this crisis, which looks increasingly likely, it could derail the entire timetable for CFP reform, and it is worth noting that we have no legal basis for a new reformed CFP after the 1st of January 2014. So it is essential, therefore, that we resolve this issue, and I look to the Cypriot presidency to knock heads together in the Council to end this legislative logjam. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Dalli.
Mr President, honourable members, I would like to thank the rapporteur, Mr Stevenson, and the Fisheries Committee for their work on this proposal. With this proposal, we are aligning the management plan for West of Scotland herring to the Lisbon Treaty, and as with previous management plans,